water resources for guaranteed water security, the committee recommends that WAMA be fully operationalized by providing requisite funding required for its full operationalization of up to 316,258,622 kwacha per annum, as opposed to the current provision of 68,423,964 per annum. The committee also urges the executive to ensure prudent utilization of the allocated resources so that planned activities are implemented without fail. With regards to the tourism sector, the committee commends the milestone in the 2023 budget under the tourism sector on the allocation of 366.29 million, which would expedite the marketing strategy laid out in the tourism master plan. However, the committee recommends that the executive should prioritize the releasing of funds so that the targeted programs and projects are implemented as proposed. The committee further urges the executive to ensure that there is prudent utilization of funds and strict monitoring frameworks. In conclusion, Honorable Chair, the committee is of the strong view that government must be deliberate in prioritizing participation of Zambian citizens in high-value economic activities in energy, water, and tourism sectors. The committee wishes to thank the Honorable Madam Speaker for affording it an opportunity to consider the sector estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2023. Gratitude further goes to the Acting Clerk of National Assembly and his staff for the assistance and advice throughout the committee's deliberation, as well as stakeholders. I also sincerely thank you, all members of the Committee on Energy, Water Development, and Tourism. Honorable Chair, I sincerely thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that submission. Honorable members, any questions, reactions? Okay, we'll take the first three. Honorable Jamba, Honorable Kafaya, and also Honorable Mijero, in that order. Honorable Jamba.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Member, the petroleum sector, I just wanted to get whether you interrogated so much, because when you look at the budget for them in terms of petroleum infrastructure, they are saying that it was 4 million last year, is it 2022 this year? Then they have actually gone to 255 million. They are saying petroleum infrastructure development. Did you interrogate to them, just for our knowledge, what exactly is the infrastructure which they want to do and the management when they are actually moving away from dealing with these petroleum products? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Kafaya.
Honorable Chair, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Honorable Chair there. Chair, the government wants to borrow 240 million United States dollars to construct an interconnector with Tanzania so that government can export what it's terming as surplus power generated. So far we are standing at 1,156 megawatts, which may increase. But your submission indicated that 69% of the Zambian people are not connected. Did the committee consider the appropriateness contained in the wisdom to borrow 240 million United States dollars in order to facilitate export of power when in fact 69% of the Zambians are not connected? Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mijero.
Thank you very much, Chair. Vice Chairperson on NH, thank you very much for your presentation. Mine is on the connection fee increment on ZESCO. That ZESCO decided to increase connection fee by 10 times, okay, the prevailing cost. I just want to know if you really found out from those people how does it cost to produce maybe a 1 kilowatt? Okay, just to produce, because of the jump, imagine from the current to about 10% times. Then how, and those people did respond to you that it is very expensive to produce electricity. But did you find out that how does it cost, okay, to produce 1 kilowatt? Thank you so much, Chair.
Okay, Chairperson, can you respond to all three?
Which one would you want to take? Okay, I could start maybe with the last one on the 10-fold increment. When we interrogated them, they expressly stated that the increment was not related to the cost of production of power. The increment was related to the subsidy which they've been doing on the cost of connections. So the mere cost of connecting ZESCO power to this household has been subsidized, and the last time there was a revised increment was, I think, 2006, they said. So what they told the committee was that they've just removed the subsidy. They are not making any profit out of the connection. So if there are some customers, according to them, who are able to buy what it requires to do the connections, they will discover that the cost they are paying ZESCO and the cost of buying whatever cables are required for the connections is constant. ZESCO is not making any profit on this. ZESCO also did bring to the table that they are moving away from doing non-core duties. They said a lot of these things which are not core functioning of ZESCO, they are trying to hive them off. They want to concentrate on their core duties, which is generation of power. So a lot of activities which they were doing in the past, which was not related to generation of power, we were expressly informed by the MD that is introducing reforms, which as a committee we fully supported, that they hive off some activities which are clearly not related to the power production. That was a submission from ZESCO. Maybe my two colleagues would want to take
Sure.
two questions. Honorable Engineer.
Thank you. Chair, there was a question about the 255 million which has been allocated to the Ministry of Energy under petroleum infrastructure. I don't know if members have got a copy of a report. There's a report which we've submitted which breaks down what outputs are expected under that activity. So members can be well guided if they refer to that page, which shows you.
Is it under the same report or is it a separate one?
It's under the same report.
Under the same report, okay.
Yes. So there's an item, Chair, very quickly. The sub heading is. It's page 8, which comes to page 9.
Yeah.
And it goes up to page 10. So if you go to page 10, it's indicated programs. It's also indicated outputs as well as activities. So our role as a committee was to interrogate this. I think that is what we were guided during that training.
Yeah.
So Chair, that I think will guide Honorable Jamba on what outputs will be achieved under the 255 million kwacha.
Okay.
There was a question from Honorable Kafwaya on the 240 million that is being borrowed, which is in the annual borrowing plan. We have so many people that have not been connected to the network. Did we interrogate why they are borrowing this money? I think the response that we got from the MD was that the value of money that they would get from exporting into the eastern region would actually be very high to outweigh the cost of the money that will be borrowed. So the response that we were given was that it is necessary to provide Zambia with an avenue to export as well as when there's a crisis, because ZESCO currently 92% of their electricity portfolio is mainly hydro. So there will be a time when the weather patterns might change, there will be challenges in the future, so we need another interconnector as opposed to just relying on the southern region. So the response from the MD was that the investment is necessary to achieve two things. One, to earn more revenue from the excess power, which would be adequate to even pay for the existing loans, because some of those projects that have been expanded are sitting on loans and they need to start repaying. And I think now they've even started repaying some of those loans from that income. I think the response was around those two factors: exportation of power as well as importation when the rainy day comes.
Probably, maybe just
Order, honorable members, can you give the chair? Let him just
probably just to add on, as a committee, borrowing for production really, is supported because they'll increase their revenue. But it's government the executive must be able to identify a good investment opportunity. Government must invest in some of these projects because they are highly beneficial, and they are very viable. And that's why there's appetite from international financial institutions to come in and finance this project. It's because of the viability of the projects. I just thought I'd clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's have the two follow-up questions. One about Jamba, then one about Kafka. Mike, one about Jamba.
Chairperson, we're talking about a budget here, and of course the Committee on Energy interrogated. And the Honorable, in his response, he says, let us look at the outputs and activity. When you look at the output says petroleum supply chain and the legal framework strengthened. Then you look at what they have done, you are talking about 255 million. Surely, this budget is a drain. This is a lot of money. And someone is talking about strengthening supply when they have moved. You see, the energy, the Ministry of Energy itself has distanced itself from the purchase of fuel and all these petroleum issues. What they're trying to do is just to say, okay, how is the fuel coming in and how is it going out, who is going to be supplying? Then we give them 255 million. I wanted to see the infrastructure, because in their submission they are saying they want infrastructure. What infrastructure are they building? Are they building more reserves like the one they are built in Lusaka, the one in Ndola, the one in Chipata? Are they putting those reserves?
Okay. Okay. Honorable Gafoya. Mike, Honorable Jamba. Mike.
Point of procedure, Chair.
Maybe before we go to, yes, Honorable Mutale.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, we seem to be putting our colleagues into a lot of pressure when in fact they are not the Minister of Energy. I think what we're supposed to have done here was...
Order, honorable members, let him, he has raised the point.
Submission.
And honorable members.
Making a submission here.
Honorable Gafoya and Honorable Jamba, you want to raise questions, follow-ups, and that's my duty to moderate, so let him finish. Then I'll give my view. Isn't it?
So yes. Chair, what I was saying is, our colleagues had the chance to interrogate or to interface with the Minister of Energy. But the way we are posing these questions to them, we want to assume that they are now the Minister of Energy, when in fact we're supposed to raise maybe questions on what they've written, but not to an extent of putting them in the shoes of being the Minister of Energy themselves. I find it difficult for them to give us answers why the Minister of Energy has decided to take the route of pumping, diesel on that thing and to spend all that money. It's not their decision.
Okay, not even my understanding. I think this is a good pilot. So, to some extent, it would be good that we ask them because these are the questions maybe they could have raised to the witnesses, so that they give us. If they can respond. If they didn't go to that extent, then we can end there, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, Honorable Gafoya.
Thank you so much.
Keep a tab on Honorable Jamba's question. Honorable Gafoya.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair there, I'm a supporter of borrowing. And I support borrowing for construction of capital. And there is no question an interconnector is the capital being constructed. My question was related to the wisdom. In between constructing capital to facilitate exporting power to a foreign country for gain versus putting this power into the 69% Zambians who are not connected. Because ZESCO has connected 31%. 69% have got no power in the country. But this power we're calling surplus is actually not surplus, because more than 50% of your people are not connected. So did you inquire? If you didn't inquire into that wisdom, that's okay. But if you did, you can help. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable members, we'll do it. These were follow-up questions. Okay, Honorable Simunji.
Thank you, Chair. It's a right on Honorable Kafuya's question. Zambia is connected only at 31%. And ZESCO are trying to overprice their product. At what percentage would they break even so that the price can come down? Because the more you connect people, the more the price will come down. They are not able to reduce their price because their product is not going anywhere. They are not selling the product. So at what percentage can they break even so that they can before they can export it? Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Chair for the committee, can you respond to those? There's someone who was Honorable Mungando. I haven't given you the opportunity. Honorable.
Thank you very much. I'll start with the borrowing for the interconnector. From the committee's interaction, they may not have been very explicit question in terms of the relationship between the borrowing and the supply to the people. But our rationale as a committee was that these are two different, set of factors. The appetite by the international financing conglomerates may be in the interconnector, projects. They may not have the same appetite in connecting the whole Zambia 100%. So that's why this money is being borrowed. If it was being generated by Zambian government, probably it would hold that we can hold this money and put it into increased connectivity and improve the coverage to 100%. But these international financiers have got their benchmarks for you to tick the boxes before they can release funding. So as a committee, we may not have raised it explicitly, but we have the view that it's not each and every project that these international multinationals are interested in funding, but they are interested in funding the 240 million interconnector, largely because of its viability and profitability. Okay. So to substitute this 240 and put it into connections, this 240 may not be, the financiers may not be agreeable that we are coming to lend you money to put into connecting the whole country. Okay. That was our thinking. The second one, maybe on infrastructure, you can explain, Honorable.
Yeah, Chair, just to add, the issue of the 255 million, I referred the committee to page 10 because it gives a very general perspective. I think the member was asking, is there justification for this money? Did we ask this question? The response, first of all, started with the Ministry of Energy before we could even interrogate these sub-institutions such as RIA. Apparently, the 255, part of it is also going towards, according to the PS for energy, is also going towards these reserves. What do you call them? Fuel reserve tanks. Fuel reserves. Yeah, because apparently not all the money was paid. There's a credit that is sitting. There's still money that has to be paid for some of these infrastructure that has already been set up. I think that in the first day of receiving the witnesses, that matter was put on record. So I just wanted to make that clarification, that part of this 255 is also for those particular infrastructure that was built but not paid for.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Mabenga and Honorable Mungando. Okay, Chair.
Just to add on, Chair, on the Tazama pipeline, there's also a cost in terms of making sure that the fuel that will be transported through the Tazama line is secured, and it will reduce the risks.
So is that part of the 255?
Yes, we are. Yes, please. Because if you look at, if I'm to avail to you what Tazama is proposing, they are talking of employing, who have a number of police officers, offering security.